turn, the storm is near. Cry all you want, we're still here. Faithful, fuck around and find out. You tried to rule, but your time ran out. Faithful, the silent won't stay quiet now. We're taking back what you burned to the ground. Censorship, lockdowns, all your control. Built your throne on a house of gold. Now you panic, now you cry. Tears don't work, truth don't lie. The games are done, the mask fell off. No more lies, we've had enough. You played with fire, now taste the flame. This time, we're naming names. Faithful, fuck around and find out. You tried to rule, but your time ran out. Faithful, the silent won't stay quiet now. We're taking back what you burned to the ground. You called us threats, you called us extreme, but we remember everything. From 24 and beyond, take your bets, 'cause guess what? We ain't done yet. Faithful, fuck around and find out. Your kingdoms crumbled, your luck ran out. Faithful, no more games, no more doubts. You lit the fire, now it's burning you down.
Oh, yes. Wait a minute now. Is that working? Yeah, there it goes. It's working now. Sorry. I guess I probably should have tested that before I went live, huh? But fuck Faithful. I don't know. Faithful seems like the wrong the wrong pronunciation. But what are you gonna do? It's AI, right? Clearly AI. A very cool thing. What does this mean by? Jason Kersey, I suppose. Cheers to him. That was fucking fantastic. Really cool. Really cool stuff. Normally I'm not a fan of the AI generated butt rock, but you know, that one I gotta give it to you. That's pretty nice. I can dig it. How y'all doing this fine Wednesday? We got a lot of shit to talk about today. There was the glorious State of the Union address, which wasn't really a State of the Union because Trump hasn't been president for more than a year, but you know, whatever. It is the president's address to a joint session of Congress. However you want to phrase that. State of the Union seems like it's less of a mouthful to me. Then we had a wondrous and beautiful hearing today where Republican committee members were holding dim city mayors to account. It's a beautiful thing. All kinds of great highlights from that. And, you know, I wanted to take some time to highlight my Kentucky boys because I have never been prouder to be from Kentucky than I am in the current political era that we're in right now. It's been amazing to see some of the most based people in Congress having Kentucky next to their name, whether they're senators or representatives or vice presidential candidates, right? J.D. Vance was born in Ohio, but he has family in Eastern Kentucky. So I'm counting him too. How you doing, Melissa? You can dig it? I knew you could. Hell yeah. Like I said, I'm not normally a fan of the AI butt rock stuff, but you know, that one I can dig on. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Anyway. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that's been going on. The first thing I want to highlight is my boy Thomas Massey. He was the lone Republican to actually vote against the continuing resolution to still, maintain our debt and overspending from last year. And today, he just reintroduced in the Fed, Federal Reserve Board Abolition Act 1846 of the current U.S. Congress. Americans would be better off if the Federal Reserve did not exist. The Fed devalues our currency by monetizing the debt, causing inflation. 100%. Kill the Fed. How could you ask for a more based representative than that? I mean, holy crap. How you doing, Abrams? It's good to see you, man. But here it is, 119th session to abolish the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in the Federal Reserve Banks, to repeal the Federal Reserve Act, and for other purposes. Mr. Massey introduced the following bill, which was referred to the committee today, apparently, to abolish, short title, this act may be called the Federal Reserve Abolition Act. And it goes on and on. Basically just outlining all of the provisions to get rid of the Federal Reserve. And not fucking replace it with anything that's going to make it even worse. After satisfying all claims against the board and any Federal Reserve Bank which are accepted by the Director of the Office of Management and Budget, and redeeming stock of such banks, the net proceeds of the liquidation under subparagraph A shall be transferred to the Secretary of the Treasury and deposited into the general fund of the Treasury Department. You know, that always confused the shit out of me. Why do we have a Treasury and a Fed? What the fuck? Anyway, so hats off to Thomas Massey for doing that. Rand Paul hasn't been much in the news lately, but it seems like some of the, what do you call it? The EoD concerns that Trump was bringing up last night actually came from one of Rand Paul's Festivus reviews of the budget, where they go over these, he goes over these ridiculous spending measures that Congress is actually paying for in the budget before they pass it. The omnibus every single freaking year, right around Christmas time. And he said it time and time again. Every time he brings Festivus up, Rand Paul explains this, is that they stack it up in this 20,000 page bill, and they give it to you 2 hours before you're supposed to vote on it. And it's the week before Christmas, so nobody wants to not actually pass it or not come to a resolution on it. So they're trying to strong arm you into essentially passing these ridiculous funding programs that don't make any sense. Like paying for, transgender animal research in fucking foreign countries and shit. Absolute retardedness. But that's how it goes every year with every congressional budget. Every single time. We had this from Nancy Mace. So one of the things that's been trending on Twitter lately is this idea that, there's no transgender animal research. What is Trump talking about? He meant the transgenic mice, as if that's better. Because what transgenic mice means is that mice are being genetically experimented on, that their genetics are being altered to better represent humans rather than experimenting on some animal or some human, some animal that's closer to human DNA or human themselves. That's not actually what Trump was talking about at all. I think he was talking about this, because Nancy Mace just brought it up at a committee hearing. Nancy Mace revealed that over $10 million in taxpayer dollars were used for creating transgender mice, rats, and monkeys, as exposed of the White Coat Waste Project. Mace criticized the Biden-Harris administration for spending $2.5 million on a study about the fertility of transgender mice during a congressional hearing. The hearing addressed the misuse of taxpayer funds for what Mace called painful and deadly transgender experiments on lab animals. Mace stated that the United States government spends over $20 billion annually on animal experiments, highlighting the need for oversight. Absolutely. That's what Trump was talking about. Literally funding transgender mice. Sex changes on mice. We have done that. That is a thing that the American people have paid for. This is from the Washington Examiner. Biden administration spent millions creating transgender animals to experiment on. The National Institute of Health under President Joe Biden has spent millions of dollars funding experiments where animals are given sex change procedures and studied for the benefit of the transgender community. Taxpayers have footed the bill for roughly $10 million in transgender animal experiments in recent years, according to a selection of grants compiled by the White Coat Waste Project and obtained exclusively by Washington Examiner. The federal spending supported research ranging from the study of cardiovascular effects of giving feminizing hormone therapy to male rats to providing animals injected with sex hormones. A popular drug of abuse utilized at raves. Oh yeah, ecstasy, do you think? To investigate overdose in vulnerable female and transgender populations. Again, if you can pull enough heartstrings, you can justify anything. I swear, it sounds like something out of a fucking Bill and Ted movie. You know? Or what was that movie where they made a hot naked woman real with computers back in the 80s? You know, they're sitting around and like, hey man, I know exactly what we should do, okay? We should take the mice and first we're going to make them trans. And then we're going to give them enough ecstasy to overdose. And you know what the best part is? The fucking government's going to pay for it. Yeah, Weird Science. That was the one. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. It's really what it sounds like, doesn't it? It's like out of a comic book. It's ridiculous. And yet somehow you're a racist bigot if you bring attention to this and how cockamamie it seems. Or the fact that we shouldn't be wasting tax dollars on it, especially when the United States has operated in a deficit for a long fucking time, and our debt continues to rise and rise and rise and rise and rise. We wonder why. We wonder where it's all going. You know? Well, now you know. It's headed straight to the Transgender Mice Fund so that they can give them ecstasy to see what happens in an overdose. That's literally what they're doing with your tax dollars. It's disgusting. Oh, man. Anyway, our other Kentucky boy that I wanted to highlight this week is James Comer. I don't think James Comer gets enough love in the X sphere, the Twitter sphere, whatever you want to call it, when people are sort of highlighting who's talking about what and what's saying what. Alley Cat says, "What are you against transgender mice rights?" You know what, Alley Cat? Yeah, I am. I am against transgender mice. I am against the United States government and taxpayer dollars going to fund transgender mice research. I am against that. I'm sorry. You know, the argument you always hear when you tell them, hey, the female league is made specifically for females because of the biological differences between males and females. And that's probably why we shouldn't let biological males compete in that league. So maybe you should have like a transgender league. You tell them that? And they'll be like, oh, but there's only like 0.01% of athletes that are transgender. Oh, okay. And so if we're talking about like less than 1% of the population and general statistics, then why is it that the federal government needs to fund research to turn mice transgender before we give them ecstasy to see what happens in an overdose? Like, how many of the 0.1% of transgender people that are in the United States are going to raves and overdose on ecstasy? Right, are going to raves, first of all, and then how many of those that go to raves are females, and how many of those females that go to raves are taking ecstasy in an irresponsible fashion? You see what I'm saying? You start drilling the shit down, and it's like there isn't any justification for this research or for the taxpayer money to be going to it in any case at all. Anyway, even by your own fucking terms. Which is why Rand Paul does the Festivus and why I love him for it. It really brings attention to this bullshit. But this one was coming from Nancy Mace, though. So it's good to see other Republicans picking up this bastion and trying to bring attention to this shit. I think Doge has had a lot to do with that. And you see who's crying when it comes to Doge, right? It's always the neocons and the filthy limousine liberals that are crying foul and saying, how could you stop U.S. aid funding? Oh my God, they're stopping AIDS in Africa. They're feeding people in the Middle East. How dare you, you monster? No, go fuck yourself. Okay, they're funding transgender mice and giving them ecstasy. They're paying for Sesame Street to the tune of $20 million over in fucking Iraq. I'm pretty sure that was Iraq or Saudi Arabia, one of the two. Fuck, I get those two confused all the time these days. But the whole thing is just a charade. They're funding, operas in Ireland about transgender shit. Like, how the fuck is that a responsible use of taxpayer money? For all the good that you can point to that USAID does, there are 10,000 other bad things that they do. And they need to be shut the fuck down. And this shit with the Supreme Court that just came out about it, man. I tell you what. I am not pleased with Amy Coney Barrett. At all. Yeah. We had this. So Amy Coney Barrett couldn't even hide her total contempt for Trump for 2 seconds. And she gives this very dismissive look as the president comes through to shake all the justices' hands. Now, recently, I'll tell you what this is about. Recently, the Supreme Court ruled that a lower court judge, a federal judge, came through and said that Trump has to award $2 billion in USAID spending. He has to allow that through. But Roberts and ACB sided with the other liberal justices, in the majority, in favor of the smaller judge, the lower federal court judge. Essentially, Alito and Thomas and the other two dissentings, Kavanaugh and who was the fourth one? I forget. Let's see. Yeah, sure. We'll go to NPR. No. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. Fuck, I forgot about Gorsuch, man. Everybody forgets about Gorsuch. But yes, Alley Cat, Trump did appoint Amy Coney Barrett as well. But the 5 in the majority were Roberts, of course. Fuck you, Roberts. Amy Coney Barrett, and the liberal justices all walk in lockstep as usual because they're fucking communists. Sotomayor, Kagan, and I don't know what a woman is, Ketanji Brown Jackson Brown, what the fuck ever. So, yeah. Like I said, essentially they ruled in favor of the lower court, saying that it is now constitutional, apparently, for a lower court to administer, guidance to the executive branch, which is not the judicial branch's role at all, is to get involved in what the executive branch does. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit. We did have an interesting take on this from Rob Noor, too. What did he have to say about it? Yeah. Supreme Court has ruled that Trump must reinstate $2 billion in USAID funding. Terrible decision, but Trump should comply. 2 things should happen next. Trump should immediately begin dispersing all discretionary funds that he's ordered he must, but when his administration isn't specifically told which organization to disperse to, he should give it to blatantly partisan MAGA organizations. MAGA folks should start NGOs, for example, to help fight STDs and then promote abstinence and Christian values approach that actually could make a difference. Hell yes. Common sense, education reform. I'm down for that. I'm down for, taxpayer funding for veteran disabilities, veterans with homelessness issues. Let's give some more money in that direction. And we have how many millions of taxpayer dollars flowing through Politico for some odd fucking reason? Why don't we send some of that towards Blaze TV or toward Daily Wire or towards Steven Crowder? You know? Conservative judges around the country should start looking at funds and declare them illegal if they feel so. Yeah, the president is any low-level judge now apparently has this power, and it's time for conservative judges to now follow the precedent and go after wasteful spending. Absolutely. So apparently now it's up to, the judicial branch to try to determine what is and what isn't appropriate spending. Like I don't know. At the end of the day, to me, it's a complete blurring of the constitutional lines, and I think this is an erroneous ruling from the court. It's completely erroneous, and it's usually on these 5-4 splits where shit like that happens too. Half the court knows that it's the wrong thing to do, and half the court thinks, well, who cares? We're going to do it anyway. That's what happened with Roe versus Wade. That's why that was such a hotly contested ruling. It needed to go. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said so, which is something Democrats seem to forget when they're all up in arms about, oh, you're taking our rights away. Oh, you're taking our rights away. When actually you can still go to California and get an abortion in the 9th month of your pregnancy. Nothing is stopping that from happening. But, oh no, you're taking the rights away. You're taking the rights away. No, shut the fuck up. There was never a guaranteed right to abortion in the first damn place. That's a complete farce and a complete misrepresentation of the Fourth Amendment. Life begins at conception. Anyway. Very bad ruling from ACB. I'm very disappointed. And I had this to say about it. This is the SCOTUS Flim Flam Justice's equivalent of fuck around and find out. I can dig it. ACB should remember which side her bread is buttered on and quit playing ball with activist judges and Democrat Party operatives. It's true. Because like I say, this is a completely erroneous ruling. Completely erroneous. There's nothing right about it. And it's a disgrace. Eventually, I think it will be overturned and overruled by SCOTUS later. Who knows how many years that's going to take. How long do we live with Roe v. Wade? In 40 years, 50 years? It's going to be chaos in the interim, isn't it? Especially if, lower court judges are tossing around, oh, well, this is worth funding and that's not worth funding. And how is that going to, intercept Congress's power of the purse strings, right? What's up, X51101? Good to see you, man. The power of the purse that the Democrats are so apt to turn to when it's not them in power. But Joe Biden wants to, turn the purse strings out and forgive everybody's student loan debt. Well, that's perfectly okay. That's not against his executive power at all, is it? To get in between lenders and private lessees on whether or not their student loan should be valid or actually returned or not. The hypocrisy is just unreal sometimes, I don't even understand how people who support it can fucking live with it. Really unreal. It's really unreal. And one of the worst things is all of the gaslighting and the horseshit that's happened over Ukraine. And that's been some of the worst parts of it. Because suddenly we're morally implicated and required to dish over infinite funding to a foreign country on the other side of the world that we don't really have a lot of interest in the internal affairs of. It's nowhere near us. And frankly, anything that they can produce, we can also produce. There's not a whole lot of benefit for us to even engage with them. We don't have a military alliance. We don't have an economic alliance. We don't have any sort of real strong cultural ties to Ukraine. But somehow we're the moral arbiters for their defense. It's really ridiculous. I mean, you had this recent exchange between Zelensky and Trump in the White House, where he made an absolute fool of himself, and Trump basically kicked him to the curb, said, "Come back when you find a suit, buddy." And there have been so many fantastic memes that have arisen as a result of this. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I really have. But I had this one. Al Green got kicked out of the State of the Union last night. Did he kick you out too? Yeah. We had I feel I posed this one. The homeless guy I told I didn't have another $50 billion watching me pay for my food. Zelensky staring down from the outside the fast food restaurant. Oh, and then we had this from the I Find Retards account. All the Democrats and their stupid fucking stunt that they pulled last night, where they're gonna hold up signs instead of trying to say anything.
7, 6.
Before we move on to the State of the Union fiasco, as it were, I wanted to cover this though. This is from Chabows. They said they defend democracy but banned elections. That's true. Because it's wartime, Zelensky said we're not going to have an election. Well, let me tell you something. The United States has had elections regardless of wartime or not ever since our inception in 1775. And that includes the Civil War. We were at war with ourselves, battlefronts all over the country, war-torn cities, Savannah burnt to the fucking ground. But by God, we went out and voted anyway in order to maintain democracy and maintain, our freedom. But Ukraine can't do it when only a portion of the country is really kind of under fire. That's bullshit. Zelensky's scared of being replaced, and the Ukraine parliament has threatened him with it already over this Trump shit. That's why he capitulated, I guarantee you. They said it was an unprovoked invasion, but they started the killing, and that's true. I have a dossier of thing after thing after thing after thing of the United States saying we're not going to move 1 inch closer to the east. But we did a lot. We moved a lot closer to the east and instigated Russia and instigated this hostility in the first place. They said Zelensky was defending European values, but banned the church, his native language, and the free media. It's true. Gonzalo Lira was an independent podcaster in Ukraine who was jailed, and somehow, because of the conditions in the Ukrainian jail, he died. What was his crime? Did he murder somebody? Did he steal shit from somebody? No. He spoke out against the Ukrainian government, and they locked him up for it. And he died in their jail. And nobody has brought this up in Washington. Nobody has attempted to hold Zelensky's feet to the fire over what happened to Gonzalo Lira. But I want to know. I want to know, Zelensky, before we give you another fucking dime, I want an extensive, internal affairs report of what happened and why and who is at fault and how you're holding them accountable and what you're going to do to offer some recompense to his family. Because that's completely and totally fucking unacceptable. An American citizen died in your prison, and we don't have a shred of explanation as to why or what happened or who's to blame. Okay. One of the reasons the whole situation in the White House blew up in the first place was because J.D. Vance brought up the fact that you're running out of people. You're running out of soldiers. You're conscripting people from the street. Zelensky flat out denied this. Well,
7, 6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 7.
all of these men are being rounded up by the military and shipped off to war.
Moving up and down again. There's
against their will.
Charge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost. Moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boost. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, God, keep me from going lunatic. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
Oh man. Yeah. Rob Noor hit this the other day too. What is it that Ukraine has to offer Europe in the war in Ukraine? And that's Ukrainian bodies. Meat for the grinder, man. Meat for the fucking grinder. And our Congress people are fucking cheering it on. We're cheering on the fact that America's going bankrupt to fund this shit. And Ukraine doesn't even have the soldiers to do it. I'll never forget Lindsey Graham saying, it's the best thing that's ever happened to us. Ukrainian soldiers going to the meat grinder instead of our own. And we get to hold, Russia's feet to the fire as a result of that. It's disgusting. Demonic. Speaking of demonic, Alleycat says there were 22 Congress members who left early, yet all of them posted the same reaction. Dems are still trying to manufacture the narrative. 100%. 100 fucking percent. I posted about that as well. I grabbed onto it a little too early though. There were only like 3 or 5. Yeah, 5 when I got wind of it. But by the end of the day, 22 United States senators have posted the exact same fucking message. Yeah, Senator Tim Kaine and Mark Kelly joined the list of Democrat senators who all released the same message at the same time.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard.
Surely you've seen part of it.
But
you know what it does is it ushers in memories of the Sinclair Media Group fiasco that we caught wind of back in 2020, where news station after news station after news station after news station all got caught posting the same exact message, written and scripted exactly the same way. This is the same shit coming from Democrat leadership right now in the Senate. Now, whoever told them this was a good idea was a moron. Absolute fucking retard. Because all it does is reveal that your entire messaging system, your entire framework for your ideology and what you stand for is manufactured. It's completely manufactured. It's completely false. It's completely fake. And all of the people that are representing, the Democrat constituency are full of shit. They don't care about you. They don't care about their people. All they care about is marching in lockstep and staying on their propagandist message against Trump. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to something a little more cheery. We can look at some of the ridiculous things that happened in the State of the Union last night. Oh, I found the 22. Yeah, I mean, you can take a look at that. It's the same thing we just saw, but this is just all of them. There's just a shit ton. It's basically the entire leadership element of the Democrat Party. They're all engaged in it. Every damn one of them. They're all engaged in this shit, too. Complete retards. And I love this. Rashida Tlaib. I didn't get my retarded sign. It was perfect. It's perfect. Oh man. But this little guy, I don't know if y'all saw what happened during the address last night or not. We should probably go over that. But this was a fantastic little interview or a clip from an interview that the White House posted earlier today.
But you wanna know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together. And out of nowhere, I locked up, and then my dad was calling But you wanna know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together. And out
Fuck.
of nowhere,
I knew that. I knew it. Okay, I'm sorry. I hate it when I do that. I need to quit hitting that button. But this is DJ Daniel. He's had several brain surgeries. He's had a scar across the top of his head. That's really. I don't really need to get graphic about that. But that's what that is. That scar tissue across the top of his head. That's not his hairline. And it's because he's a brain cancer survivor. One of the things he always wanted to do was be a cop. So he, several law enforcement agencies made him an honorary member of their force in Texas. I believe that's a Houston Police Department uniform that he's wearing. But he was honored last night at the State of the Union by being made an honorary member of the Secret Service by President Trump, which was really cool. But we'll get to that in a second.
The craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together. And out of nowhere, I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said, "Stop playing with me." And I start, and then I started to act. I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow. And then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital. And then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "Nah, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's something that you don't hear from a terminally ill child. They had 5 months to live. I'm gonna keep on going until my gas tanks run out. And that's when God calls you home. You never know when God's gonna call you home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad. And I know he's pretty proud of me, and I'm pretty proud of him too. And I'd like to thank President Trump, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Kid's 13 years old. That's a strikingly mature sort of conversation to have about, the state of your life and your existence, and the fact that you're proud of your father, and it's just really cool. But yikes, man. The fucking Democrats, when President Trump made him an honorary member of the Secret Service, they couldn't be bothered to stand for him. They just couldn't be bothered. Because, oh no, that's something that Trump did. We can't actually support that. So I was gonna try to grab like somebody's series of, highlights, whatever, from the top moments, But I'd really rather just grab one of the accounts of the entire thing. We can take a look at that. But that way, I watched it. I can run through it real quick. Find what we're looking for. Because, man, there are some moments. I'm gonna tell you what. There are some moments.
About an hour. This is his 5th overall and the first of his second term.
C-SPAN's still trying to be neutral out here, but failing miserably sometimes, if I do say so myself. It was before that. Can I get that one? Yeah. There was just so much crap, dude. There was so much crap. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna play the Jeopardy music right now. Do 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 do. Hey, you know what? Maybe my first plan is probably a better plan. Everyone says I dislike all politicians, but I really dislike Demon Rats and MSM. I hear you. Me too. Most of them aren't worth shaking a stick at, but. Yeah. I don't know why I'm having a hard time tracking it down. I knew it was before the guy that wanted to get into Yale. I was pretty sure that's Elon Musk and then RFK. And then that's what she wrote one time. Start by paying your taxes. The people who want tax cuts. That's Rashid Tel Abib's fucking message to you. Start paying your taxes. Oh my goodness. Thank you, you stupid bitch. Go fuck yourself. Oh my goodness. Oh, it was sad. There's a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, this is one. This is one, sure. But it's not the one I was looking for. Damn it. I swear. Hold on. Yeah, let's do that. This happened today, too.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer.
And so far, that's all Trump has said about him. He hadn't said anything about the kid's brain cancer or anything like that. Everybody's just psyched to have somebody who's excited to be a police officer.
But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
That's what I was talking about. Look at this. Look at this. These are the Democrats. Isn't that the woman who like claimed she was black? Debbie Wasserman Schultz or whatever? That's the fucking white lady who claimed that she was actually black. And this other woman over here is just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. We're losing so bad. I can't believe how terrible the Democrats are right now. No, probably what's going through their head is, I don't want to hear this. This is ridiculous bullshit. Because they don't even have the decency to applaud, you know, a cancer survivor. And a 13-year-old kid at that.
Since that time, DJ and his dad
Would look cool with a
have
Joe
been
Dirt
on
wig.
a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States.
Look at him. All right. Look at him. All right.
Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United
His eyes got wide. Like, what? What are you talking about? I swear. I got. Oh man.
United States Secret Service.
Oh man, I got different Strokes vibes from that for just a minute. Handing him a badge right there and everything, man. I think it was a big old hug. This was coming up in the feed earlier too, but he came by the White House. Yeah, he came by the White House today, and Trump congratulated him.
Good-looking family, huh?
There's one more thing I got for you. A big hug.
Okay, good. That's very nice. Look at that family you got, huh? Very nice. How are you? Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. That was a big evening last night, right? Yes, it was. That was a big evening.
That's just a very wholesome story, man. Just cool shit. Just cool shit. So, it's a little heartwarming stuff like that sort of just brings it home. And it's like, how do Democrats justify being dismissive or somehow, appalled at that? Go fuck yourselves. You self-entitled pricks. I swear. I swear, I think they're just racist, is really what it is. Anything Trump does, they will absolutely decry and not do. They have to. Because that's their whole party platform at this point, is whatever Trump says, do the fucking opposite. So, fucking scumbags, that's right. That's how they end up drinking their own piss at the end of the day. I swear. Abram says that'll TDS will do that to you. Ain't that the fucking truth? I'm gonna tell you what, man. I'm gonna tell you what. Of course, Ayanna Pressley had this whole spiel about, I walked out, I could not stand one more second. I'm like, that's because you're a Nazi Nepo baby. Shut up. Michael Null said this one. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little Doge too. This is perfect. That was perfect. Oh man. Oh, and how could I forget? The first time, that I've ever seen it, a sitting Congress member was actually removed from the joint session during the president's address.
And one counties in our country, 2,700 to 525.
Well, hold on, man. See, that's why I wanted to find a whole recording of it. Let's see. Love to see it, indeed.
We
All right. We'll let this go for a while.
by big numbers and one.
That's right. That's what they were fucking riled up about. Because Trump reminded them that they lost the popular vote. And that was just too much for the Democrats to fucking handle. They face facts, and suddenly it's just, oh my God, no! Yes, unfortunately, you lost the popular vote. You lost the Electoral College. Trump is the president. There is a mandate. We also won 2022, let me remind you. The country is shifting red. Get the fuck over it, Dems. What does the RP says? It's the Dems collecting them 120-year-old Social Security checks. Ain't that the truth? Oh man, and he went through the fucking iteration of all of the checks going out to all the people who should probably be dead by now. But that was a thing.
counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever. Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session.
Hell yes. Hell fucking yes. Right there, I was like, oh no. No, he won't. No, he won't fucking do it. He's all talk. Mike Johnson ain't nothing but a fucking, little spineless half-witted damn self. But I'll be damned if he fucking didn't. Who, Al Green, Alley Cat? Fuck if I know. Yeah, he had something to say afterward, but we can look it up if you want.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat.
He said he had no mandate. He's up there hollering at the Speaker of the House, telling him to sit down to maintain decorum. Will not do it. Hollers out he had no mandate. When he had a clear fucking mandate, we just went over that. He won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. We won the 22 election. The nation is shifting red. They refuse to accept that. Absolutely refuse. This is just a propagandist ploy by a propagandist to spread propaganda that's completely and utterly false.
Finding that members...
Look at that shit. Look at. Hold on. Watch JD Vance.
Take your seat.
Watch JD Vance. Boot him. Get him the fuck out of here. Boot him. And Trump is loving every second of it, man. I didn't even notice the grin on his face.
Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
I'm pretty sure this guy is a Sergeant-at-Arms. So. And those guys are Secret Service or fucking feds of some kind. Oh, wait. Hold on. Listen very carefully. That's the fucking the GOP singing, hey, goodbye. I didn't notice that at first. Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. He hollers some motherfuckers as he's on his way out the door, but that's pretty much the end of it. Like I say, though, never in my life have I ever seen such a thing happen during a State of the Union. What is your IP says? Republicans starting to grow a backbone, and unless people go to jail, I take it like a grain of salt. Yeah, I hear that. In this case, nobody went to jail. Al Green did not go to jail. He was simply removed from the proceedings for being a disruptive asshole, which is what he was asking for. Like I was saying, you're up there spreading propaganda, spreading lies because it disagrees with your party narrative. That's the only fucking reason.
Continuing breach of decorum, and that's your warning.
Look at you swinging your fucking pimp cane around like you got something to say. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You look like a greasy criminal, not a sitting member of Congress. Get Mo for them all, says Abrams. You know, I'm not opposed to that. At least some of them. Like Rashida Tlaib. Yeah, this is from Byron Donalds. What you're witnessing are the final gasps of the Washington swamp. Their protests are childish, their insults are self-serving, and their time is up. We are putting the American people first again, whether they like it or not. Here, here. Here, here. There were some other sort of heart-pulling moments when we talked about, or Trump talked about illegal aliens, you know, killing Laken Riley and another young girl. He dedicated some nature preserve, I think, to the second one. I suppose that's what she would have wanted. It was a good interview with her mom on Fox. Let me see if I can find that. But this is from Riley Gaines. She said, Dims kneeled for 8 minutes and 46 seconds for a drug-infused violent criminal. Y'all remember that? Nancy Pelosi couldn't even get up afterwards. I remember an aide had to come out and help her straighten her fucking back. Laken Riley fought for her life for 18 excruciating minutes before it was taken by an illegal gang member. Yet they couldn't even stand to honor her family. Take a second to really process that. How fucked up do you have to be, man? What's up, Fires? Good to see you. And we got Twisted Aviator too. Greedy criminal, member of Congress. Same thing. That's the truth. Oh, shit. But the Dems really showed their colors last night. And it's quite disgusting. It's quite disgusting. Well, what happened to the Forbes coverage, YouTube?
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Yeah. That's what they were fucking pissed about. Well, none of that's helpful. You're a big douchebag.
We won the popular...
Big douchebag.
A brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration.
Now, see, this is why I didn't want to go with the fucking AP. They cut out the part where it shows the Democrats sitting on their fucking ass while everybody else is standing up and cheering. You worthless cunts. I swear. There we go. Let's try this.
Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Lakin's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Lakin's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act.
And how could you possibly be opposed to that? Criminal illegal aliens who threaten public safety. Sounds like something we should probably control for, I would say. There it is. Yeah, no. We can't support that. Trump proposed that. Trump's for that. We can't even clap our hands in support of the ideal of putting criminals behind bars. Despite the fact that's what legislation is for, isn't that? I mean, I thought so.
It's called the Lakin-Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Lakin Hope Riley.
I wish they showed the fucking left side of the house. That's okay. That's what they were doing. They were just sitting there. Nah, we can't support that. We can't support that. We don't support that. Nah. It's bullshit. Right-wing bill. We can't stand for it. Trump supported it, so, you know, we have to drink our own piss, essentially. I swear. There's never been a truer meme. Never been a truer meme than this, and last night fucking proved it. Really was something, though. It really was something last night for to watch the Democrats last night absolutely reveal themselves for the true cowards and the fucking sycophants that they are. They can't stand anything that Trump actually supports. Anything that Trump would like to honor or shine a light on or be happy about. They have to actually act like it's some kind of fucking outrageous fucking thing that they couldn't possibly support under any circumstance. It's truly disgusting. And what's most frustrating about it is that they're unwilling to take that lens and turn it in on themselves in any way whatsoever. The discussion in the chat right now happening. Twisted is speaking out against the funding of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Aeronautical Association, something like that. The do weather, right? It says some of the federal funding cuts need to be examined. The NOAA cuts are really going to hurt our severe weather alerting, etc. in the country. NOAA was already extremely understaffed. I tend to agree with that. Actually, there's some things where it seems like the slashing is happening, and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe it should be, catered a little bit. But I like to think that things are being administered in a responsible way. We're not making cuts where cuts would be detrimental. At least that would seem to be sort of implied by the ideal in the first place. You cut away bloat. You don't cut away functional pieces of the body. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what the nature of the cuts are. That's the thing. we can dig deeper into that and try to discover something more about what's actually being cut, then I'd be interested to see that. Now, to say that there's a federal agency that's funded by the federal government that doesn't have any bloat at all, I think that's really the fantastical thing to sort of suggest. Whether NOAA is suffering from staffing problems or not, there's probably still budget cuts that could be made and efficiencies that could be improved upon. You know what I mean? But instead of having such an internal lens to turn on themselves and to have this self-reflection where, okay, maybe things have gotten a little bit out of hand, maybe things are going a little too far, maybe there should be some oversight, maybe there should be some better transparency, maybe there should be a better explanation of what's going on, Democrats just charge forward, not even thinking about what they're talking about. But one of the things that's come up is, well, I want to set that one to the side. I'll come back to that. But one of the greatest examples of this is sanctuary cities and some of the policies that Democrats have proposed in favor of sanctuary city status and sanctuary city sort of culture, right? And so this comes back to my good old Kentucky boy promo here, where we're talking about James Comer. And so there was this House Oversight Committee held a hearing today looking into sanctuary city mayors. And James Comer brought a litany of questions that I think all of the American people are asking over and over and over again. Is that how did we come to the level of retardation that we're seeing with these sanctuary cities that are happening? And it's like I say, the Democrats don't even think about it. In order to not be a racist, in order to not be counter message, I have to support the most ridiculous shit possible. It's like you had that quote from Kamala Harris saying that, yes, I support transgender surgeries for trans prison inmates in women's prisons, right? Like men that are in women's prisons getting transgender surgery while they're in prison and the taxpayer paying for it. Federal tax dollars going to fucking fund this shit. Are you kidding me? You fucking kidding me? Like, people's grandma can't get an MRI for her fucking broken hip, but you want federal tax dollars to go to cutting some dude's dick off so he can reasonably claim that he belongs in a fucking female prison? It's the same sort of shit with these types of policies. You know? Oh, well, we have these people, so they should be allowed to vote in local elections, right? Excuse me? They're not citizens. They don't get to vote. I'm sorry. They're just along for the ride. Even if they are legal immigrants, they're just along for the ride. They don't get to vote. That's not how it fucking works. Or, we need public health care for these folks. We need millions of dollars to go to funding for housing assistance for these folks. But, all those homeless people that are outside, no, we don't give a shit about them. Those American citizens living off the street, nah, we could give two shits. We could give two shits. You're losing your house next week? We don't give a fuck. This is what it's come to. But these illegal immigrants, well, no, we care about them. We care about them. You know why? Because they don't know how corrupt we are. That's the fucking reality of it. And they'll vote for us.
Recognize myself to begin questions for 5 minutes, and I have limited time, so I want to start with a simple yes or no question, and I'm going to hold you all to that because after the first question, then we'll allow for a little more time. But Mayor Johnston, in 2017, Denver prohibited city officials, including corrections officers, from assisting and cooperating with any investigation, detention, or arrest procedures related to federal immigration laws. The city also stated that federal immigration authorities shall not be granted access or allowed to use the secure areas of any city or county jail. So Mayor Johnston, is Denver a sanctuary city?
A lot of folks use that term.
Yes or no?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Folks use that term differently. I can tell you what Denver does. We do not.
Okay, I take that as a yes. Mayor Johnson, no, yes or no? I take that as a yes. Mayor Johnson, on March 10th, 2023, you posted on X that Chicago must lead and live by the promise to be a sanctuary city. Is Chicago a sanctuary city?
A 40-year policy of being a welcoming city.
Yes.
A 40-year
I take
policy
that
of a
as
welcoming
yes.
city.
Mayor Wu, in November 2024, you gave an interview noting that you served on the city council a decade ago when the Boston Trust Act was first passed. You said in that interview that in terms of Boston's policy, there is a prohibition on resources and personnel going to enforce civil immigration detainers, meaning Boston police and other departments cannot cooperate with ICE when it comes to detaining on civil warrants. Mayor, is Boston a sanctuary city?
Boston is a safe city.
I take that as a yes. And Mayor Adams, on November 12, 2024, you
I mean, what the fuck did she say? I love how none of them are willing to fucking answer the question just outright. He's like, look, I got a limited amount of time. I need y'all to say yes or no. Are you a sanctuary city? They go on to their little spiel. They can't say yes or no. They can't fucking do it. Absolutely refuse. Consummate communists.
warrants. Mayor, is Boston a sanctuary city?
Boston is a safe city.
I take that as a yes. And Mayor Adams, on November 12, 2024, you said, quote, this is a sanctuary city, but I must comment that you have, of the witnesses today of the major cities, you have publicly stated that you were willing to work with ICE on detaining the most criminal illegals, and I want to publicly thank you for that. But my question to you, sir, is New York City a sanctuary city?
Based on our classification, yes.
Okay. Last year, in a Boston suburb, an illegal alien raped and impregnated his 14-year-old daughter while living in a shelter for illegal aliens. Mayor Wu.
Figures the one straight answer we get is from the other guy that's experiencing political persecution as a result of this horseshit.
Daughter while living in a shelter for illegal aliens. Mayor Wu, under Boston law, would you turn this criminal over to ICE on a detainer?
Whenever there's a criminal warrant, Boston police enforce that and hold people accountable.
So would you turn that criminal over to ICE?
This happened outside the city of Boston, but I can tell you in the city, whenever someone commits a crime, whenever there's a criminal warrant, we hold them accountable. If ICE deems that they are dangerous enough to hold, obtain a criminal warrant, and the Boston police will enforce it.
Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
We follow the laws,
I
and
take
we
that
make
as a
sure that everyone...
In Chicago, an illegal alien who is a suspected member of a violent foreign gang who was brought into custody for his potential involvement in a murder. He was released when Cook County declined to press charges. This illegal alien is also facing charges for kidnapping and sexually assaulting his former girlfriend last year. Now he's on the streets. Mayor Johnson, under Chicago law, would you turn this criminal over to ICE on a detainer?
Our local law enforcement works hard every day to get criminals off the streets of Chicago.
Again, that wasn't the question. The yes or no question. It framed as a yes or no question. Will you turn them over to ICE? Oh, we fight crime. Yeah, no, that wasn't the question, but.
Would you turn that criminal over to ICE? That's the problem. That's one of the topics of this conversation. That's one of the problems we've heard from Tom Hammond and from the Homeland Security is that in your cities, when someone's apprehended for a crime and ICE is now with this new federal policy wanting to come in and deport the criminal alien, that you will not cooperate with ICE. Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
And we do not harbor criminals. Our local police department works hard every single day to ensure that the city of Chicago is
yes
safe.
or no? Will you turn the criminal over to ICE?
With a criminal warrant from the federal government, our local law enforcement repeatedly collaborates with federal agents.
So you're saying publicly today, you will turn that alien over to ICE in a safe place like a jail and not turn him out on the street and say, here you go, ICE, good luck. You will turn that criminal over to ICE.
With a criminal warrant, as we have done for 40 years.
Should that criminal be turned over to ICE?
With a criminal warrant, they are subject to the federal laws, and that includes deportation.
My time has expired, but again, the point that we've got to iron out today is that we have to have cooperation. It is federal law to turn over those illegal criminals to ICE. And we have heard reports, and many of you have said publicly, that you are going to obstruct that. That is against the law, and we're going to hear more about that today. Now,
I swear, it's fucking unreal to listen to this shit. Because these people will not answer a question. They will not admit to the truth at all.
Mayor Johnson, I want to start with you.
So this is Brandon Gill honing in on Mayor Johnson in particular. But, you know, James Comer just wants to ask a simple common sense question. But you're not going to get a simple common sense answer from these sons of bitches. It'll never happen.
One of your first actions as mayor was establishing a deputy mayor for immigrant, migrant, and refugee rights. I want to ask you a series of questions. If you could answer with a yes or no answer, that'd be great. First of all,
What is your IP? It says, unless they go to jail, nothing will change. I'm afraid you might be right, sir. Afraid you might be right.
do you support allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses? Just yes or no.
So the city of Chicago has been a welcoming city for over 40 years.
I'll take that as a yes. Next question.
And that's the policy that we will hold to.
Do you support tax dollars subsidizing or paying for the health care of illegal aliens?
I support investments in all residents of the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
That's a yes as well. Do you support free or reduced college for illegal aliens?
Again, I support the investments of all residents of the people of Chicago.
Take that as a yes. Next question. Do you support allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections?
Again, I'm not over the jurisdiction of that type of law, but again, I'm committed to investing in all residents of the people of Chicago.
I'll take that as a yes. I've got an article from the Chicago Sun-Times, and I'll quote here briefly. Johnson proposed, among other things, that all residents, regardless of citizenship status, be able to vote for Chicago Board of Education members. Next question. Your website states, and this is your campaign website.
So where are we at now? We have illegal citizens get a driver's license. Illegal citizens can vote in local elections. Illegal citizens can get free public health care. What else?
Quote, I will not stop fighting until abortion access is completely secure for people all over the country, end quote. Yes or no, do you support taxpayer-funded abortions for illegal aliens?
I support the reproductive rights of all people, all women.
That is a yes as well.
Whoa. Taxpayer-funded abortions for illegal aliens. That's what these people fucking stand for. Are you kidding me? And Chicago's done with it, dude. Like, the fucking west side of Chicago is fucking done with this fool. They are sick of being run under the fucking bus while, you know, illegal aliens coming in from fucking Mexico getting shipped on planes and trains and automobiles into Chicago are you know, handed on a silver platter everything the government could possibly afford them. It's ridiculous.
Your mayoral transition website mentioned support for creating a Chicago Board of Education non-citizen advisory board. Again, yes or no, do you support appointing non-citizens to government advisory boards?
I was invited here today to discuss welcoming cities.
Yes or no?
I was invited here to discuss welcoming cities.
This is a yes or no
If you're
question.
interested in asking me
You're not
questions
gonna
about the
filibuster.
welcoming
I'll
city,
take that as a
I'm
yes.
happy to
We're gonna
answer
move
those
on.
questions.
No, we're going to move on. As you know, President Trump, unlike the previous administration, has taken serious action to bring foreign criminal gangs to justice, to take our border back and to restore public safety in our communities. He designated 8 transnational criminal organizations and cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. These are groups like Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Sinaloa, other of some of the most grotesque and ruthless and brutal organizations in the world. You, as mayor of a sanctuary city, have been virtually giving favors to illegal aliens. Apparently, you support an enormous amount of taxpayer resources going to them as well. But you yourself have also received a lot of gifts. And for those of you who don't know, Mayor Johnson has a secret gift room that is not given access to the public or for access to the Office of Inspector General. I'd like to ask you a couple questions about that. Do you know everyone who's given you a gift since you became mayor?
The city of Chicago has had a policy for
That's
40
a
years.
yes or no question.
where
And
there are
it's like he goes into total NBC mode. The dude's just a robot now. He's like, oh fuck, now my ass is on the grill. I better just fucking shut up. So I'm just gonna go back to the talking point and just repeat the talking point and toe the party line.
individuals that would like to give gifts to
I'm
the
reclaiming
city of
my time.
Chicago,
I'm going to take that as
and
a
we do
no.
not accept
When
those
did
gifts.
you
We
become
receive
mayor?
them on
No, I'm going to
behalf
reclaim my
of
time
the city
here.
of Chicago.
You're not going to filibuster here. When did you become mayor?
I was elected mayor of the city of Chicago in April of 2023, and I was sworn in May
That's good.
15th
On June
of
12th,
2023.
On June 12th, 2023, you received Hugo Boss cufflinks and a personalized Mont Blanc pin. Do you know who gave you those?
So I did not receive those personally. The city of Chicago
You received those on behalf
and
of
that's
the city
right,
of
on behalf of
Chicago.
the city of Chicago, as
I
every
understand the
mayor
difference.
in the
Do you know
history of
who-
Chicago who has
Do you know who
provided
gave those
gifts
to the city of Chicago?
Chicago.
Do you know who gave those to the city of Chicago?
So again, on behalf of the city of Chicago.
On behalf of the city of Chicago, I got some cufflinks. And what the fuck else did he say?
Hugo Boss cufflinks and a personalized Mont Blanc pin.
A personalized Mont Blanc pin. Yeah. That really sounds like a gift to the city of Chicago, Mayor. Go fuck yourself.
Do you know who gave you those?
So I did not receive those personally. The city of Chicago
You received those
them,
on behalf
and
of
that's
the city
right,
of
on behalf of
Chicago.
the city of Chicago, as
I
every
understand
mayor
the difference.
in the
Do you know
history
who-
of Chicago who has
Do you know who
provided
gave those
gifts
to the city of Chicago? Do you know who gave those to the city of Chicago?
So again, on behalf of the city of Chicago, there
It's
are
a yes
gifts
or no
that are
question.
received,
Do
but I
you?
do not
Do you-
accept. Those are not
So you
my
don't-
personal
so you
gifts.
don't know.
Those are the gifts of the city
On
of
March
Chicago,
18th,
and that's why you are aware
2024,
that they exist, because they're
reclaim
within the
my
law.
time here, sir. On March 18th, 2024, you received a Gucci tote bag. Do you know who gave you that? Gave the city of Chicago that?
Again, I was here and I was invited
I'll also
to
take
respond
that as
to
no.
the
On March
questions
19th,
around
2024,
welcoming
the
city. I'm
city of
happy to answer
Chicago
any of those
received
questions.
A Givenchy bag, a Kate Spade purse, and Carucci shoes. Do you know who gave the city of Chicago those?
Again, I was brought.
I'll
I
take
brought
that
my
as a no.
energy
I'm
here
reclaiming my
to
time
respond
here, sir. I am
on behalf of the
reclaiming
city
my
of Chicago of
This
what a welcoming
raises
city
serious
ordinance
ethical
is.
concerns. You're providing an enormous amount of aid to illegal aliens, aiding and abetting criminals who have come into our country illegally. And you yourself are receiving an enormous amount of gifts, and you won't even tell us who they're coming from. That
Chairman,
raises
time is up.
serious ethical
We have a
concerns.
5-minute rule.
Gentlemen's
Mr.
time's
Chairman, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record the City of Chicago Office of Inspector General advisory concerning gifts accepted on behalf of the city.
Without objection,
Nice.
so ordered.
Thank you.
I fucking love it, dude. Oh man, you guys are saying some kind of ridiculous shit in the chat. What do we got going on here? One of the RIP says, the option I vote for is exiling all Democrats from the country. Twisted says, I support post-birth abortion for communists. Going the Pinochet route. Abrams is all of the above. And Murdercom's talking about MS-13. He just mentioned MS-13, but all of them have been locked up except for the American members since crime's legal there. Awesome seeing those Guatemalan gangs rotting away in overcrowded prisons. I could give a shit less about Guatemalan prisons. However, if you're talking about ours, yeah, well, come see, come saw. We should probably be more selective about who we lock up. I'll agree with that. However, MS-13 and Guatemalan gangs definitely qualifies as people we should lock up. Good to see you, Kanakastani. How's it going? How's it feel to be the 51st state?
And we've had enough. America's.
This is what's his first name? Roy? Is it Roy Higgins? I don't think it is. Clay. It's Clay Higgins. Clay Higgins.
Fed up with this betrayal of oath, and you'll be held accountable. One of you said you're willing to go to jail. We might give you that opportunity. Good mayor. One of my colleagues mentioned the children. I always want to talk to the children. Separation of children. At any given time in America, there's 750 to 850,000 American citizen parents of minor children incarcerated in our country. If you commit a felony in America, you get arrested and prosecuted and convicted and incarcerated, you can expect to be separated from your children. But let me say, there's a sunset to that separation, because when you do your time, you'll be released. You can return to your family. This young man will never return to his family, and he should have never been removed from his family. If we had a president and heads of our municipalities that were willing to uphold the federal law that exists. America is moving into a new era of enforcement of our own laws. Welcome to it. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
You're right. Clay Higgins don't fuck around, y'all. Clay Higgins don't fuck around. Yeah, Louisiana Republican issued a dire warning that they would all be held accountable, saying those willing to go to jail in defense of their policies might be given the opportunity. Vertigum says, it feels blah. Trump doesn't have the balls to do Iraq 2.0 in Canada. I wish y'all would break us down and build us into a state with rights and freedom. That appears to be what's going to happen. There's some reps in Alberta who are pushing for Alberta to become the 51st state. The U.S. just cut the food off to Canada, let you all starve to death. Come for the land after, says, what is your IP? Yeah, we could definitely embargo Canada. That would not be difficult. You see, you have to think about these things. When you start talking about taking it all the way to the point of war. What is it? Some asinine fucking representative in Canada, or Trudeau himself, said, "Oh, Europe will protect us. They've got nukes." I'm sorry. Who do you think gives European countries every single ounce of their military technology? Do 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 do. Yep, that's right. It's us. Everything they've got is a cheap copy of shit that we've sold them or allowed them to see the this is how it works, plans of. Whether you're talking about the Eurofighter or the stupid fucking helmet that the UK military built a little while back, where it's essentially an Apache pilot's helmet. Where he turns his head and it turns the gun on the front of the ship. This thing is supposed to steer an aircraft based off the same exact technology. So it's all through military technology sharing that European militaries have any innovation whatsoever, because of the shit that we come up with, because of the money we spend on R&D and developing next-gen weapons and weapon platforms. In any case, nobody's nuking anybody. Least of all over Canada. You realize how many people are in Canada? How many people are in Canada, Murdercom? You tell me. But I'll tell you this. There are 500 million people in the European Union. And there are 330 million people in the United States. So who do you think Europe's really going to care about more? They're going to care about Europe? They're going to care about Canada at the end of the day. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I can't foresee us actually going to war with Canada. I really can't. I'm just saying that if you play it out, if you game it out in your mind just for a second, ain't nobody coming for Canada. Ain't nobody coming for Canada. There's 30 million people there. Nobody gives a shit. That's not enough for the world to get upset about. That's the reality of it. I mean, they'll be mad. They can be mad for a little bit. But they're not going to stop us from fucking doing it. Honestly, it's in both countries' interest for Canada to just play ball. It really is. Sign a treaty, split yourself into several states and just become part of the union. Let's quit this charade where you pretend to speak the Queen's English and praise fealty under the crown. What was it I heard from some Albertan was the real problem is the French. Because the French are not going to sit still for it. That may be true. It'll probably just be a U.S. invasion of Quebec rather than a U.S. invasion of Canada. Because the rest of Canada will probably be fine. But U.S. doesn't have the balls to do it, says Murdercom. I don't think we're going to have to. And frankly, I'd rather we didn't. Because you're all a bunch of fucking communists anyway. But I don't want you in our voting bloc. To be honest, I really don't. You want to be commies in the fucking Yukon. Don't be commies in my backyard. Twisted says, true, the French are always the problem. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the fucking truth? All right, I had one more of these from the hearings today with the woke sanctuary city mayors. And it's my man Byron Donalds from Florida. I gotta get him in here.
Donalds from Florida.
Thank you, Chairman. This is my third term on the Oversight Committee. We've been talking about illegal immigration and oversight the entire time. I remember we had a group of this committee that went down to the El Paso section of the border. This was back in February, March of 2021. And during that time period, we were at one of the holding centers, and there were these buses that were coming to the detention facility, and they were picking up 30 kids, 50 kids at random, walking out of the facility. And when I went over to question the bus driver that was transporting these kids, border agents told me, as a member of Congress, that you're not allowed to question the bus driver. And of course, people knowing me, I didn't take no for an answer, and I repeated the question. And I was told that this bus of children was leaving El Paso and going to San Diego. And so what was occurring under the Biden administration is that they were busing unaccompanied minors all across the United States for one reason and one reason only. And that was because they did not want the press to see the pictures of kids in cages. They did not want to see our borders being overrun. They wanted to disperse that problem all through the United States. That is the reckless history of illegal immigration under Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. Mayor Johnston of Denver, you lamented earlier that there were 10 to 11 buses coming per day to your city. Did you ever talk to Joe Biden about why this was happening to your community?
Thank you, Congressman. I both reached out to Governor Abbott from Texas. He didn't respond, and I did.
Why would you reach out to Governor Abbott of Texas when it is Joe Biden, the former commander-in-chief, that opened up our borders? Why didn't you talk to him?
Well, our buses directly were being sent from Governor Abbott in Texas, so that was why we reached out to say we're happy to collaborate on a coordinated entry system. We understand no one state or no one city should bear the entire brunt of this, but let's collaborate. But I did.
So I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to my next point. Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis, when they started moving illegal aliens out of their states who were bearing the brunt of what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were doing, and they've sent them to Denver, they sent them to Chicago, they sent them to New York, they sent them to Martha's Vineyard. The reason why they did that is because you four could hide behind the realities of illegal immigration on border towns all through our country and on cities and states who did not want to see illegal immigration, but did not have the political representation to go to the White House. And only when it showed up on your doorstep did you get upset. Mayor Johnston, coming back to you, how much did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around $79 million since 2022.
$79 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone.
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you.
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing
which
mayor.
is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that
how
was
much did the
sent from
city of
us
New
from
York
the
actually
state
spend
of
on
Texas.
illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number, and if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
6.9 billion of taxpayers' dollars.
$6.9 billion.
Billion? What the fuck, dude?
Money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city
You don't
services,
ask
so
about
we
how
don't
much
have
money
that
the city
number.
of Boston has spent on illegal immigration.
We
Are you
don't
out of your
distinguish
mind?
between immigration status.
Do you
as
manage
part
your
of our
budget
city
or not,
policies.
Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep
Mayor
our city
Wu,
safe.
do you manage
we
your
have
budget
the
or not?
numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So
for
to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
The city
of
of Boston
the city of
is
Boston.
sick of having
I'm
people
reclaiming my
outside
time.
Boston
Mr.
telling
Bear,
us what
Mr.
we
Bear, I have
need.
a question for you because I understand Cato's perspective when it comes to illegal immigration. I understand that the Cato Institute for a long time has had a standard of actually having open immigration into the United States. Generally speaking, I don't want to get into specifics.
We support legal immigration. We want immigration to be legal.
So let me ask you this question, because one of the great libertarians of the modern era, Milton Friedman, famously said, you can either have open borders or a welfare state, but you have to choose. Mr. Beer, what do you choose?
Milton Friedman said he wanted to allow illegal immigration to continue. I disagree with Milton Friedman's position on that. We should have legal immigration and build a wall around the welfare state, not around the country. That's in the best interest of taxpayers.
And I would argue that under the current system where you have sanctuary cities popping up, it is not possible to build that wall. So America
can.
has to
Absolutely you
choose,
can.
Mr. Beer, you're done. America has to choose between securing our nation or protecting the taxpayer. I choose secure the nation. I yield back.
Gentlemen, you.
Fucking fire, dude. I fucking love that dude. Oh, shit. You know, I wish him well in his contention for governor of Florida, but I wish he would stay in Congress, man. I fucking love seeing that guy. He's one of my favorites. Okay. So I'm glad that we finished that off, especially with a drill down on Denver and one of the more northern states, Colorado, that is affected by immigration from Canada. So one of the things that's been happening is a lot of illegal immigrants into the United States are coming in from Canada. And we have a very porous border with Canada. It's actually even more porous than our border with Mexico. Well, you know, since, what is it, Department of Homeland Security, George Bush, and 9/11, all that's kind of changed a little bit. Our border with Mexico used to be a lot more porous, too. You know, I think that's part of why we ran into the problem that happened, is because it's sort of like the sink is flowing a certain amount, and then when we did DHS and all that shit, it sort of stopped flowing. And then all of that sort of built up, and then the back pressure was a lot stronger coming from Mexico than it was from Canada. So that's where we saw the problem. And then Joe Biden opened the spigot again. So all of that shit started pouring in. But what was I going to say? Is a lot of it's starting to come from Canada through the northern border too, and that includes the fentanyl and the human trafficking and all of this kind of shit. It's just the cartels are putting them on a plane and sending them to Canada first because it's easier to get into Canada. As Murdercom said, we rolled the red carpet out for folks that were from a different country. Canada is very much more welcoming to that. But Canada is also a lot warmer towards places like the what do they call it? The People's Republic of China, right? Isn't that right? Xi Jinping? The People's Republic of China, and then the People's Republic of North Korea. The Chinese Communist Party and the North Koreans, I swear, man. I don't know how anybody could be welcome to immigration from either of those places without some serious fucking vetting, because of how much they have a propensity to steal shit. and just do, clandestine fucking research on military operations and everything else, manufacturing practices and copyrights. Yeah, on down the line. Here's a race car. He says, "Don't trust China. China is asshole." I need one of those on a fucking soundboard. I tell you what. But this is what I'm talking about. This strong relationship. Trudeau, in fact, approved China doing military exercises off the coast of British Columbia, right near Alaska, in between Alaska and the state of Washington, right? And it's like, dude, that is not okay. That is not cool. So you wonder, we have this problem with immigration coming through the northern border because of your open immigration policies, illegal immigration coming through the northern border because of your open immigration policies. Then we have security concerns because you're letting China do military operations off the fucking coast of British Columbia, and then you're doing industry deals behind our back with fucking China, who's sending it over to DPRK, who's sending it over to Russia, and fueling anti-American interests in the long run. At some point, it actually starts to make sense that America should probably have more of a say in what you do on a geopolitical scale, because what you're really toying with and what you're really betting on is the fact that, oh, we're protected by our big brother, the United States. They're not going to let anybody fuck with Canada. They're not going to let anybody invade Canada, because then they themselves would be at risk. Lord only knows. The Mounties can only do so much. Are they really going to stop an invading force from fucking China? They're probably not going to do anything. They're going to tell their people to get out of the way, shelter in place, don't bother them. Let them go to Montana. That's where they're headed. Mm-hmm. That's a serious fucking concern. This is why Trump is talking about we need to secure the Panama Canal. We need to get China on board or make them the 51st state. We need to fucking buy Greenland in order to secure the Arctic Circle. Is because shit is heating up. And we need more leverage. We need more playing cards at the negotiating table when we start talking to somebody like Putin. That's the fucking reality that we're looking at right now. And you want to sit here and tell us that we need to be bending over backwards for Ukraine still. You're not even realizing the totality of the situation that you're looking at, because you're more concerned about some shit ass sense of morality than you are looking at the real situation where we might be facing World War III. Now, game that out in your head. Like I say, game that out in your head and see where our weak points are. It's all in the north. Our economic weak points are all in the south. We need to control the Arctic Circle. We need to have eyes, ears, and a military presence that's there 24/7. Now, we do in Alaska, but I think that's about as far as it extends. We need a bigger presence in the Arctic Circle. Owning Canada, owning Greenland will give that to us. The Panama Canal is almost a strategic asset of the Chinese fucking communist dictatorship because of how much they've invested from an economic standpoint. Well, they've been doing this all over Africa. They've been doing it all over rural America too. We've been letting them get away with it. That needs to have a stop put to it that I don't hear anybody talking about. Is why is China buying up farmland near military bases all over the United States? The United States in Montana, the United States in North Carolina, in Texas. China owns way too much American soil. That has to stop. And we're over here quibbling about fucking TikTok. Are you kidding me? No, the real concern is how they're purchasing and owning infrastructure that controls the American economy. That's the real fucking concern. Not to mention auto manufacturing in Mexico, pharmaceutical manufacturing that gets piped up through Mexico. Right, the constituents of fentanyl are almost exclusively exported by China into Mexico. All of that becomes a fucking issue. And then you've got them playing military games with Trudeau off the coast of British Columbia. Oh, but there's nothing to be concerned about here. No, certainly not. Now, either Canada's going to shape up and they're going to start doing what's best for Canada, as Polivier says, or the United States is going to come in and help them understand what it is that's best for Canada. Because you're playing games not only with the United States military, the United States people, the United States citizenry, you're also playing games with the world at this point. Because if Russia has a red carpet rolled out for it, if China has a red carpet rolled out for it, the United States has to get involved in some of these things that you want to talk about the EU doing to the United States. With the fucking nukes. B-52s have to find their way within firing range of Moscow again. Or we have to elephant walk out of Guam, the way we did with Trump. This shit is not cool. Especially with the heat level that geopolitics is at this point. What's up, Dixter? It's good to see you. What's in the black bag on the table next to my scissors? The pipe. It's my tobacco pipe. And there's the pipe, which has a cool engraving on it. It's actually there. So the sword and the inscription on the one ring, and the sword is the broken sword of Narsil, and it's forming the roots of the white tree of Gondor. And then there's stuff in here to smoke with. There's tobacco and a pipe cleaner, some matches, pipe filters. This is what I've been smoking with it. It's pretty good. Smells good, tastes good. Simple stuff. This is actually an ashtray for cigars or a pipe. It can be used as a pipe stand. I'm using it as a pipe stand. It's a block of solid marble, actually. Kind of heavy. I think it weighs 3 pounds. Because Race Car says, in Zarbamba we trust. That'll be the end of the fucking world. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do World War III. I don't want to do World War III. I don't want to do World War III. That's why I'm saying you have to game the shit out in your mind and think about, how do you secure the United States? You secure it by securing the Arctic Circle. You secure it by removing China's influence from Canada and Mexico. So that's exactly what Trump is doing. If that takes taking over fucking Canada, I think that's exactly what he's going to do. But I don't think it will. I don't think it comes to that. I think Canada will come to its senses and will acquiesce to Trump's demands, cut off ties with China, stop doing all this military bullshit, and, you know, help enter into a stronger alliance with us than NATO. That's what it's going to take. We're going to specify terms on, you can't do this type of business or this type of business or this type of business with Russia, China, or North Korea. You know, and that's what it's going to boil down to. And you're going to have these restrictions on immigration because we're having a problem. Now it's your problem. So, because they're coming through our border. So if we're having the problem, you're having the problem. We both need to work together to solve it. That's what it boils down to. Victor says you have to dress like Gandalf when you smoke that. I do have my robe over there. My gray robe. It's a Gandalf the gray robe. That's what it was for. Yeah, I bought this, and I got the one ring from my dog Frodo. The same Amazon order. So that was a cool little thing. I like it. It's good. Good for when I don't have cigarettes too. Yeah, what is your IP has another interesting fucking pathway that we can take. How do you secure the United States against Russia and China and DPRK? Well, you become their ally. We abandon NATO and join up with the big fish that are in the fucking sea. Then what? I don't even know. I don't even know what happens if that happens. But culturally, I don't think we get along with the Chinese very well. So I'm not sure how well that'll work. And, you know, there's that whole economic thing. Their 100-year plan to become the greatest fucking nation in the world probably does not include being friendly with us. That would be my first guess. But I don't know. Russia is probably fine. Like the Russian people aren't really all that different from us, from what I can tell. When you actually start talking to them, now they're affected by their own propaganda too, and they have their own interests at heart, especially when it comes to the Ukraine war. And when you juxtapose the two cultures on that one particular issue, they seem like utter enemies. But if you look at us through any other lens, over any other aspect, there's actually a lot of things that we get along on, quite a bit, quite a fucking bit. And I think that's something that's lost on a lot of people. Racecar says yes, but nuclear war is also the worldwide cure to chronic back pain. You know, that's true. I could think of better cures, I think. I could think of a few better cures. All right, so since we're on geopolitics, I guess I'll bring this up. Another good old Kentucky boy is Scott Jennings. He used to be representative in the House of Congress, but has since become a talking head on CNN, sort of taking Tucker Carlson's position on NBC, where he was the Republican heel, right? I think Tucker Carlson actually started on Crossfire, which was a CNN program. Then he moved to NBC later as the Republican heel. Kept that bow tie the whole time. I don't know. That might have been emblematic of him sort of doing a dog and pony show, because he's a completely different person now that he runs his own shit. Anyway, Scott Jennings has not really been fulfilling that role in anywhere near the same capacity. He is fucking rolling fucking smoke on these lefties, dude, left and right, just fucking burying them in the dust, and I fucking love to see it. And again, this guy used to represent Kentucky, so my hat is off to him just for that.
I think Donald Trump is very unhappy with the way Zelensky conducted himself in the Oval Office. He is serious about getting both countries to the table. And you talk about pulling the rug out from underneath someone. Well, who pulled the rug out first? Zelensky was supposed to show up at the White House Friday for a perfunctory meeting and sign this deal, which would have bound the United States and Ukraine closer together. And he just couldn't bring himself to just sign the papers and head out. And so, look, I think Trump ran on ending the war. He said day one. We're not at day one right now, but he wants to end the war as soon as possible. He has managed to engage Putin in some kind of conversation. He thought he was engaging Zelensky, and then Zelensky goes out today and says, oh, we're very, very far away from ending the war. The exact wrong thing to do. I don't know who he's getting his political advice from, but he needs to stop listening. It sounds like maybe Chris Murphy and other Senate Democrats. If you want to understand how to deal with Donald Trump, those are the wrong clowns to consult with. Maybe for balloon animals at a child's birthday party, but not for geopolitical advice.
In order to give Zelensky a lesson in what makes Donald Trump happy, he's going to give Putin an advantage on the battlefield. That could be, that could mean the difference between basically a conflict that is at a stalemate and Russia actually being able to do some things that they have not been able to do of late.
Well, look, I think Donald Trump is using leverage, as he should. He wants to get Zelensky to the negotiating table. He wants to get a ceasefire. He wants to stop the killing. I think those are all good things. The fact that Putin might benefit from it, I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think, first of all, the EU nations are going to step in. They're going to fill the void. And I think at some point, Zelensky has to have an endgame. If he thinks he's going to defeat Russia, he's delusional. His endgame has to be to get to the table, get the best deal he can make, and that would start with a ceasefire and not going to the White House dressed like a schlub. I mean,
okay, we're back to this again.
Well, you know what? When you go to see your banker, you don't.
That's true. I'd agree with me, but it's Trump kicking Zelensky out of the White House. He's like, come back when you're wearing a suit. Nicholas says you need some Samuel Gwaith Virginia flake tobacco. You know, that would be good. I just wanted something cheap to try out, you know. This is what the guy at the tobacco shop recommended. It was $10. It's lasted me nearly a month now. Of course, I don't smoke it every day, but And it's good stuff. It tastes fine. I love it. And it smells really good. It's cherry tobacco, so delicious. And Dixie says, come back when you have a shirt you can actually wear with a tie. Yeah, right? Where's your fucking collar, you worthless cuck? Even our fucking battle dress uniform that we wore in wartime, despite the fact that it should have been, you know, a dress day or whatever, had a fucking collar on it. But this piece of shit shows up in a goddamn undershirt, essentially. Yeah, still has a fucking collar. Exactly. Racecar says, I would argue that it will cure cancer too, killing everybody in the world. Yeah. But I'll assume that at least some people will survive just to get cancer from the nuclear fallout. Probably. Fucking become one of those things, ghouls and fallout, right? They live 10,000 years and never die or whatever. Scott Jennings has been doing fucking magnificent though. Oh, this stuff is old. This is old stuff. Y'all suck. All right, never mind.
I think Donald Trump is.
I mean, is it worth it? I mean, on making decisions. Well, Donald Trump and JD Vance, they were a little too emotional in these decisions and these conversations and getting us further away from a ceasefire.
I mean, is it worth it? I mean, was not putting on a tie worth it? Was calling Donald Trump?
That's
Is it worth
the
it?
last thing that he's worried about.
Look,
he's worried about protecting his nation. Y'all love to do that and gaslight people for being in the position that
you brought
they
it
are.
up. You called him names.
brought it up.
You called him names.
He called him a thug. You said that he didn't dress the way that he should have.
One thing about Russia that's true, they suck. Okay, look, they invaded Ukraine. They've lost 700.
By the way, why can't President Trump say that?
For very clearly saying that.
But here's what I see. They've lost 700,000 people dead or wounded. They've spent untold amounts of money. They've gained barely any territory in 3 years. The Ukrainians have fought them bravely and courageously. At the same time,
Why can't Donald Trump say
at the same time, the political will in the United States to open-ended fund a stalemate is dropping.
What the hell? China is DDoSing me right now.
Bravely and courageously. At the same time,
Why can't Donald Trump say
the same time, the political will in the United States to open-ended fund a stalemate is dropping.
You piece of crap, man. All right, hold on a minute. It's good though, man. It's good to see a Kentucky boy out there just taking the Democrats to task day in, day out, every single day. I fucking love it. Beautiful shit.
I think Donald Trump is very old amounts of money. They've gained barely any territory in 3 years. The Ukrainians have fought them bravely and courageously. At the same time,
Why can't Donald Trump say
the same time, the political will in the United States to open-ended fund a stalemate is dropping rapidly. The American people want this to come to a conclusion. I think Zelensky is misreading the American political situation. Maybe it was true 3 years ago. Today, people want this to come to an end, and there's a way this ends where he wins.
But don't you
and
think
you cannot
Zelensky
accept the
above
win.
anybody else wants this to end?
He has absolutely
You're very
no
right
end
about that. But
game.
Bruce, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You called him a thug. Why did you call him that?
I was a big fan of Zelensky in the beginning. I thought he was very courageous. I thought the Ukrainian people fought very courageously. I have spoken with a lot of Ukrainian leaders. They would like to see Zelensky come to the table and try and get a ceasefire. They're tired of the killing. I sent guns to Ukraine, okay? I supported Zelensky. I supported the government there and the fight and the cause. But now there's a point where he's not going to defeat Russia.
What makes him a
He's
thug?
delusional.
I mean, I really want to
Because
ask you this because
he
I think
came
that
and
I'm
acted
trying to understand why the rhetoric has gone from we'd like him to come to the table on a peace deal to this guy is a dictator, this guy is a thug. Where is the evidence for this stuff?
You don't go into the Oval Office with the president and the
Again, we already went over this. Zelensky stopped elections. Zelensky shut down a church, and he arrested an American citizen for unfavorable speech towards the government. and that citizen died in his prison. He still has yet to answer for that. And they conscript their soldiers. They've run out of soldiers to the point that they actually have to force people off the street in order to go fight the war for them. So that's why he's a dictator. That's why he's a thug. This guy has no balls. That's exactly what he should be saying right now.
Vice President, roll your eyes, try to lecture and interrupt the vice president.
Of course, he does have some good points. This is a good point. It's just that's the wrong point to make. It wasn't just the disrespect for the president and the vice president that causes us to call him a thug and a dictator. It's also the way that he treats his own people and the fact that we're no longer fighting to defend democracy. We're fighting to defend what is ostensibly a dictatorship, which we created. We installed it in the first place, which is the most mind-blowing fucking part of it. But
Be combative with the president. That's not the place for that. Maybe in the back room, in the negotiating
That
table.
makes him a thug?
Yes.
Putin is throwing people
himself very
out of windows, and Zelensky is a thug for responding in a conversation about his own country and about the history of his own country?
Putin's an international gangster. I get it. But, you know, Donald Trump sent Steve Witkoff to the Middle East, and he was able to get a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel.
I fucking hate it when I do that. The point is that we've lost. That Ukraine has lost. It doesn't matter if Putin is good or not. We need to get okay with that and just move on with our freaking lives and our money and move it back towards American people, because it's over, and we're gonna have to get okay and become good with the ideal that, you know, we're gonna have to give up some have to cede some ground and find our way out of this. How do we get out of this? It needs to be the strategy at this point, and in a way that's best for everybody involved, and that's gonna require concessions. It's good to see you, April. How are you doing? What is your IV says? A nice clean suit works for me. Yeah, no shit.
Israel. So why can't Zelensky come to the table and try and get a ceasefire and end the killing?
Alex, I want to make sure you get in here on this, because obviously peace is going to be difficult to obtain. But I keep asking this question. I've asked it almost every night since we've been talking about this.
Like I said, it's not difficult. It's just you need to change your fucking perspective on that, which is from the incorrect perspective, which is we can give nothing up. We can give nothing away. There is no ceasefire, which is Putin or Zelensky's fucking.
All that.
I did a Biden. Did you see that? I called Zelensky Putin, which is Zelensky's fucking mandate that we can't do a fucking ceasefire.
Vladimir Putin is seeing is the United States becoming more estranged from Ukraine. He is seeing Trump's willingness to simply put a halt, turn off the tap on all military aid. If you're Putin, how do you strategically go after this? I mean, essentially, you could just sit back and wait, hold out as long as possible. And it seems like Trump might just walk away from Ukraine. You don't have to do anything at all.
I mean, that's essentially what he's doing. He's basically he's watching the fight take place, and he's saying, that's fine. Let the spat between the Oval Office go. Let them hold back on the aid. And I'm just going to watch this show unfold in front of me and figure out when I can take advantage of it. And it's the same. So Zelensky said today or yesterday he would not agree to a one-month ceasefire, and for a reason. The spring fighting season is about to start, and it would give Putin an opportunity to sort of recharge and rearm to go again. Putin will be looking for any excuse to try to derail this and ensure a deal doesn't take place, because for him, that's the long-term benefit. So we saw today the Ukrainian parliament issued like an apology, basically saying, hey, not an apology, excuse me, like we're very...
It's essentially what Scott Jennings was saying, is having this deal in place would mean that there is no differentiation between American citizens and Ukrainian citizens, because American investments would be present in Ukraine. American citizens and American assets, from an economic standpoint, purely for economic gain, would be present in Ukraine. And that would be attacking them would be tantamount to attacking America, which is not something Russia is willing to do. I can guarantee you. So that's the security, assurance of the mineral deal that Zelensky just fucking flippantly, walked away from the other day. And that seems to be lost on all of the Democrat fucking talking heads and the Democrat pundits. Is the whole reality of the situation that we would have American economic interests in Ukraine if we did this deal. Whereas right now, those are very tacit interests. It would become very real and very, corporeal, so to speak.
Thankful the United States, the ambassador said the same thing. President Zelensky has stopped short of that with President Trump. I don't know if they're going to get back to that place at some point, but if the aid and flow isn't turned on, in the long term, it's going to impact. European leaders who are watching this have been horrified. The comments coming back are basically, we can't trust the United States in the long term. Somebody else needs to step in the void from a long-term security perspective. But I don't think the president really cares about that. He's made that clear from his statements that he's not interested in the Europeans' thoughts on this. He wants to stop the war now, and he's trying to pull what he sees as levers of power. But it's, that's a guy who's been negotiating deals for 50 years, but it's not a casino, it's a country.
Okay, so that I don't really agree with. The president did, in fact, explicitly say in the meeting yesterday or the day before, a couple of days ago, last week maybe, that I'm with Europe. I'm with the United States. I'm on the side of peace. So we are trying to look out for Europe's interests, at least to some extent. They're just not willing to actually work with us. Everybody seems to want the war to just continue endlessly. Doesn't make any damn sense. I don't understand why. The meat grinder's been going long enough. We need to put a stop to it. And unfortunately, for all the people who wish that this would just continue on into the, the nether reaches of the far future, that means we're gonna have to make concessions and just step back, and at least get to a point where we can talk about it. Because right now, people are just dying for no damn reason. It needs to stop, and we need to stop funding it. We need to stop funding all the killing. Jixer says, okay, EoD, here's the tobacco for your pipe that you need. MacBaron HH Bold, Kentucky. Oh, man, that sounds good. Hot pressed pipe tobacco. But it looks like, why does it look like beef jerky? Top quality dark fired Kentucky from the U.S. and Africa. Wait a minute, what? From the U.S. and Africa are combined with some sugary bright Virginia to balance the earthy smokiness with a touch of sweetness. These select tobaccos are then hot pressed to marry the flavors. The bricks are then sliced into deep brown flakes for easy preparation. Taste is unabashedly bold, full of smoke and spice, and its heady experience, best suited for enjoying after a hearty meal. That's true. It's flake tobacco. It's a full leaf, and it is pressed with others to make a blend. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Do I need a grinder or something? Do I need like a cheese grater for that? I don't know. Unabashedly bold like EoD. Indeed. Oh, man, $15 isn't too bad. I only paid about 10 for the pirate stuff. So you just break it up with your fingers. Yeah. Oh, we could do that. I could give it a shot. I've never seen it like that though. I've always seen it like in a pouch. Like, here, I'll show you. This is shredded tobacco. There's nothing special about it. You could roll cigarettes with it if you wanted to. I don't think they would be very good though, because it's kind of thick. You have to take it easy with this stuff. Yeah, it's Captain Black. But, yeah. It would be easier if I just show you this. Yeah. See, it's It's already broken up and stuff. It's not compressed or anything. Oh, it smells so good too. It smells like cherry wood. That's the thing. I wish you guys could smell it, but anyway, I think it's gonna do it for me tonight. Shredded burns faster. Flake is longer lasting smoke. Yeah. Didn't mean to hijack you. No, that's okay. I was gonna close out anyway. We've been going for a little over 2 hours. So, I could hang out in the Discord with you guys for a little bit if you want, but I think I am gonna go ahead and end the YouTube stream just for, you know, just to make sure. But thank you all for hanging out, though. I do intend for the channel to kind of shift in this direction, the YouTube channel to shift in this direction a little bit more. It has mostly been gaming for a really long time, and I haven't found much success with that. I tend to play bad games, at least games that are bad for like algorithmic success is what I should say. Right? Like nobody wants to watch anybody play Myst or Riven, you know, like those were some bad decisions. But I like those games. They're really cool games. I never played anything like them before, and I thought it was important to, you know, share with the world my experience. Nobody cares. I did have some other games that I wanted to try out that are a little bit more action focused, but I haven't gotten to them yet, and maybe I will at some point. So we're not going to completely abandon gaming, but I do want to kind of shift the channel more towards political commentary. So I'm going to try to take the stream today and cut bits and pieces out of it and turn those into videos, and then I'll slowly stack those up and phase out some of the more gaming stuff and maybe build out some playlists to separate everything. But keep an eye out for some more based ass political takes coming in, and you know, make Canada the 51st state for American security, and smoke real tobacco. You know, shut down the border, end illegal immigration, America first, and you know, we need to end the war in Ukraine. You dig those takes and hang around and find out. Fuck around and find out, right? Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it can be. Anyway, catch y'all later. If y'all want to hang out in the Discord, come and find me and I'll fire the stream back up. In the meantime, I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, you said that if we came to your Discord and said you should fire your stream back up, you would. So here I am.
Okay, fine. God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's why Race Car's here too. He's like, get that fucker on. Get him back on. That's why he turned it off.
Yeah, why the fuck aren't you wearing a robe? Like what the fuck?
And a pointy gray hat.